Right, hello everyone. Many I'm Ghana for me, Jidisa Obia and greetings. Good afternoon. Yeah, Babe Din Komokakra. Yeah, on the book of Proverbs, wisdom from the book of Proverbs program na for the month or the whole month of January. I mean, Chadi, we've been consistent. Yankopon has given us the grace. We've been able to do it for the first 20 days of this new year 2026. Today is the 20th day. We thank God for the grace and the consistency. And maybe far more time be brave. But other than that, I immediately say Ubia has had a fantastic day. And so yeah, let's crack on. I don't know why I'm a lighty. As am I dark kakra on the YouTube and the Facebook. As am I dark. And so I have my extra lights here. Maybe let me fidget around with my lights a bit and let's see. Anyway, kakra. Or maybe it's because it's not the big ring light, it's just a small one. Anyway, so yeah, let's crack on. Proverbs chapter 20. Proverbs 20 talks about responsibility and self-control. Briefly, affirmations that we are done for tonight. Okay, and it's talking about life and conduct, basically how we live our lives, how we conduct ourselves in life, and so on. I'll go ahead like I always do, just give a brief a summary of what the chapter is about. Na fe ya salient points kakra na ya papemu, and then the main takeaway from the chapter. We read a couple of verses, and then the whole idea is for you to read the rest of the chapter yourself, just to get yourself in the groove of reading the book of Proverbs for the month of January 2026. And maybe GD say ebeboa yen kwan bebree so ewo yanamontu for this year emu. So the main message from Proverbs chapter 20, avoiding foolish behavior, practicing diligence and discernment. Avoid foolish behavior. The Bible uses these language, this type of language or vocabulary, vernacular. Let me just put it that way. Don't feel uncomfortable. The Bible uses these words. Okay, us avoiding foolish behavior just simply means to say we don't want to be making certain mistakes this year 2026. Mistakes be no more because we must have enough wisdom at this point in time in our lives to know right from wrong. And in order to avoid certain things, we must develop that spirit of diligence and have that spirit of discernment. So that discernment simply means to say our spiritual antennae are so sharp that we can pick up signals and pick them up in time. Okay, and then also being diligent in YBBI. And the way I always like to mark myself when it comes to diligence, not just in your work in terms of how are we edify, but more so when you are on your own where nobody's watching you, nobody's marking you or anything like that. And you're supposed to do certain things. You set yourself certain goals or certain tasks. How are you able to hold your own self accountable? How are you able to hold your own self responsible for your actions when nobody else is watching you, so that even on your own, you're still able to do the right thing? That is my understanding of diligence. And then once you're able to do that on your own, taking it outside is not difficult at all. And we're talking about responsibility here and self-control as the main theme of Proverbs chapter 20. Okay, and then the key verses. Oh God, I'm gonna have to call this person later. Let me call them. Let me cancel the call. But your mommy 1 minute, me send you the message, right? Okay, got it. Okay. And oops. Yeah. So four main verses we're going to look at Proverbs 20 chapter verse 1, verse 3, 11, and 27. One no talks about or say wine and strong drink lead to mockery and poor judgment. Okay, so we'll go ahead and read it. Wine is a mocker, strong drink a riotous brawler, and whoever is intoxicated by it is not wise. Okay, that I think is self-explanatory. And oftentimes as believers, um, there's always this kind of debate about whether believers are supposed to drink or not, take alcohol or not. Sebe enyame meba betrel dia obey as a grown up or as an adult in terms of that type of a obia and then a preference but what the scripture is telling us and they say those who do it in excess, if you're somebody who takes alcohol in excess, one you're careful, it doesn't matter who you are, it can make you misbehave, a bit go in, and once you reach that level, no, you can even turn into a violent person. Any idea, you better your home in that respect. Okay. Verse 3, it is an honor for a man to keep away from strife by handling situations with thoughtful foresight. To being able to avoid quarrels, being able to avoid I don't like saying avoid conflict because sometimes conflict yeah it's part of life, but being able to handle conflicts diplomatically, at the end of the day, with peace being the goal, that the outcome I wish. Uh-huh. And see, yeah, when you're able to stay away from trouble for the most part, stay away from unnecessary intokwa, you know, intokwa ehun here, being able to stay away from it. I can only use social media as an example since it's an extension of our lives now, especially for those of us who make video, who have put ourselves out there, yeah, videos in the especially yeah, and your politics in the no. Everybody feels the need, say, what we can, and sometimes people just want to draw you into their mess, into their negativity. People just want to bring you down to their level, and ubu how be sheda ba be count tokwa or person chun edeba on a level, no. And so we're being scripture is cautioning us or is admonishing us to be very mindful about such behavior. Again, this is where diligence comes in, this is where discernment comes in, and all that. Sebeya undescending to certain levels are really, as a child of God, no, you shouldn't be engaging yourself in. Maybe let me see if it's the brightness of my laptop. No, the brightness of my laptop is, I feel like my video is so dark. Anyway, my turning on brightness a bit more. Yeah. And even in your family setting, those of us who have spouses, or if you have a partner, bibi a den tokwa beba between one or partner, between one or spouse, you must find very good ways of avoiding and tokwa, which is wisdom. And to say ebia nkomo bubum bia mudi nkomo bi ana bibi disagreement bi aba. It is okay to disagree with each other. Yes, ye nipa ye nyina ya dwedin to be nyepe all the time. But disagreement let's start to say ebia escalate into a place where mo anye careful e de ntokwa beba mo ntempe. It is honorable to avoid reaching that level. And at that point, wisdom must prevail so that you don't reach that level between us and our children as well. Remember, baby, a news item be on social media whereby Young Ghanaian politicians never ako. Very young guy and so very young guy. You see, United States of America. Nadia, hi. Hello, darling. Isaac Adoma Komechiamo on TikTok. And Emmanuel Boy and everybody else on TikTok. When I say a United States of America, young Ghanaian politicians never ako. Young guy be, you say US are buying asonimu. Adenya sebe wa one year, you know, pew pew. Or the idea I will want a year, person can because of TikTok or more, you know. And you wonder why. Ɛdeɛn ya na ɛbɛba ɛna ɛbɛma wankasa wo yere wobɛfa adeɛ ɛde awowɔ ne saa. Wote aseɛ. Ade wopɛ sɛ woku nana. And I'm thinking to myself, you see, these are people that yɛfrɛ wɔn honorable. This is somebody, a lot of people in Ghana, be friend or honorable. A lot of people have so much respect. Ebi mo be hu no mo be salute no kra any idea. This is somebody wakotena radio so ana wakotena TV so wɔ Ghana ho a ɔbɛkeka ne nsɛm as if sɛ ɔno de ɔyɛ soro abɔfoɔ ɔbɛɛ nie, you know, ɔno mo akɔ brandi obi sɛ obi didi atem, you know, obi insulte wakɔ judge obi sɛ obi ti say obi ti say obi ti say. Now so ɔho de ɔyɛ no wɔ ne dɛm ɔho suban a ɔda na adi wɔ dɛm ɔho sɛ de ne butumi fu wei sɛbe yɛ ka obi asɛm a ankɔba abɛkyeka wakɔtena Ghana radio so akɔtena Ghana TV so aka sɛ sɛbe ɔman ne ba bɛyi president anaa ne party ɛyi flag bearer ɔno wɔmpɛ obi because nipa ne nyɛ presidential material wokobi sane sane na nipa ne nyɛ presidential material ɔbɛka kyerɛ so nipa no kasa ne bo so dodo ne bufu ntɛm dodo ɔte se dodo nyɛ presidential material ɔpɔ obi ɔwɔ ahobraseɛ obi ɔyɛ humble ɔno deɛ ɔyɛ humble megye di sɛ ɔkɔka kyerɛ ne constituency foɔ sɛ wɔn nto aba ma no megye di sɛ ɔka kyerɛ constituency ne sɛ ɔno ɔyɛ humble paa nanso wɔho deɛ ɔyɛ no wɔ ne dɛm ebia meka kyerɛ mo mebɛt ensɛm bi wa mebɛtena na meka mo ahwɛ a mobɛka sɛ mempɛ nipa bi asɛm ɛyɛ deɛ mahu ntia meka kyerɛ mo sɛ Ghana foɔ bebree humility na yɛ false humility ɔwɔ sɛ ɔwɔ na yere nneɛma wɔ dɛm atwe sɛ sekan na ɔtwe yom sɛ scissors no de awowɔ na yere no ɔwɔ sɛ wawowɔ wɔ na yere no wɔ dɛm wɔpra ɔbaa no wɔ dɛm nyame nko ankokun no ama America aban aso ne mu we ɔwɔ Ghana ebi akɔbɛfa ne ho adi because ɔyɛ member of parliament sɛ wɔ deɛ bebree ɛyɛ na wɔwɔ mo dɛm ɛnso ɔkɔtena radio so ɔkɔtena TV so na onya ne nyonko a na waka ne nyonko de ya nyankopɔn hwɛ yɛ nyinaa you know, let's be mindful of things like that. It needs a woman wubufu to that level. It will say it is the verse 3 no actually say it is an honor for a man to keep away from strife by handling situations with thoughtful foresight. Situation biano, you know, bufu na ba strife na ba na de no be bisa ho say me mami bufu ana me da suban be due to level bia what might be the consequences of my actions. What might be the consequences? Because for every cause there will be an effect. Inti bibia obeye bia no ehu consequences ne de ebeba. Just to say yeah part of the world no ebia meka say a lot of people get away with a lot. Nipa bebre, especially Ernestina sweetheart especially omo ekura to me, you know, they get away with so much. UK haya na omo obrofo bi a omo kan but TikTok into me kasa abrofo no. But British ni beka say a lot of people get away with, you know, say you know, meka. Those of you who know, a lot of people get away with literally because obi anya na hwe wo back home ho back home the your penyini or the ho do you know who I am at once the United States of America they ya so mu sanity you know yenye careful. And then you best skip it ako 11 let's say even children are known by their behavior, okay? And kwarampo mama me fa me manage example Mekai sɛ me man mpanimfoɔ first two no ɔmo bɔ ho pa 14 months na ɔmo susua no mede ɔmo kɔ hairdressers. Now middle one, no, of course, you guys, you know that all our children are girls, so we have three daughters, three beautiful daughters. Now middle one, then you see, yeah, shit, and only a mum no, I am very calm. Na osano, just say, bibia, man a toya, obebubu toy ni sesia na. Bisan sa na de na webubu toy nya nra ya na toma o se ami bubu na mahwa de wo mi wi a mesa fix it. Nti oso anyina na nim so onyi obeye engineer te se ne papa. No nyine no ono afa ne path, you know, na nani so ya she enti me ka say me de omo call hairdresser once na eya na ma boni din Mrs. Stop na madane me ho hairdresser o tina konwa so no wasi no wafa no wa bie bag me bag him where you wait no wa na ti de me twa ma chi bia ma boni din Mrs. Stop Mrs. Sit down Mrs. Stop afa hairdressers na ba ho dane na chi o hwe so which one of you is no boni din? I say, all I keep hearing your mom say is, stop, I want it start, you know. And on a Bible, even children are known by their behavior. More Friday than, you know, even in the classroom, there's always that one or, you know, one child, be may say in every class I taught many years ago, there's always that one child that sometimes not being me trima. I'm like, wow, by now I see me seeing you, and I wonder what they're doing now. I wonder whether the behavior be or they were classroom, no, or and I'm wondering, say, asasana. There was this particular girl. Oh my days, this girl used to stress me out, like or shed that bus or baby stressing me out. And at the end of the day, no, about me big hug. No, you know, me say no, I'm a big hug, no, cause I never miss you up. What's the more, you know, but she used to stress me out. I saw shedder. And so sometimes me were high, woman and Nigeria be see me, I'm like, wow, by now I am a big girl, almost approaching 20 years. And I'm wondering, what is she doing by now? Where is she? Has she changed? And so on. See, that's what the Bible is saying. And then now let's, you know, juxtapose that to how we can relate it to Yaya Brabo. Or say even a boy is known and distinguished by his acts, whether his conduct is pure and right. It's, you know, as in Pennyfo, Sanity, whatever Subaya Yedanedino, it is known to people. Okay. Oh yeah, nipa papa, oh yeah, diligent in your work, oh yeah, you know, if I say well, you'll be or work ethics, you good or respected time, you respect people around you, you treat everybody, you know, or treat people with respect, etc., etc. People around you at work, they know your bosses, they know. Oh, your boss were not oh your boss, papa. Me call Ghana last year, me call one of your institutions, you know, and I had to meet with the CEO. So I met with the CEO. You see the CEO? No, not CEO. He's the head of the place, yeah, head of the whole entire institution. Not a CEO, but the head of the institution, and two of them actually. The first one I met, I sat in his office. He wouldn't talk. He wouldn't say anything. Apart from adeɛ na ɛwɔ sɛ ɔyɛ ma me no ɔyɛ ma me wie me da na se. It was only when me da na se me sorry ya me ko no ɔka kyerɛ me sɛ ya ɔhwɛ me videos na I did very well for President Mahama. I was like, what? Oh wow. And I said to myself, and I'm betting her all this while and you didn't even say anything. And anyway, the second head of another institution, Amishiaye, the guy was so nice. Now, what I observed the way he related with Omo Onyomoye Ejumano, because he had to take me into several departments to do a few things. And I was just watching how he related with Oma Omoshe Nasia Onye Omoye Ejumano. And I was like, wow. You're such a cool boss, you know. The way he made he makes his the people, his subordinates, he makes them feel so comfortable. Like he would go into a room, open the door, greet them, drop a little joke here, find out from them whether Bibia or okay, and do they have any concerns, and I was like, hey, wow, oh, this is nice. This is my me say me catch sa till the last day. I met him a few times, and each time I met him, me catch me say, oh, where ya me fe. If only all of our heads of institutions were like you are, Kagan and Kiyebeko Yenimpa. And yeah, and on a scripture, ne catch ya wahano. People know, people watch us. Now everybody will be share. It's papa. Ultimately, people know. Oh, yes, so people know. That is why for me, the Biameka, I am an open book. What you see is what you get. That the Biameka will say. So what tell me once more social media so you'd be better off calling me Ankasa to ask me, and that is why I've made my number public. Call me and ask me, Marie, is it true? I'd prefer that than for you to be listening to strangers, because sometimes you hear things about yourself on social media and you're like, I remember someone okay, mama example 2020, make I say election campaign 2020, apparently there was this MPP woman on social media, Facebook at the time, because 2020 campaign was more Facebook. Na yes, woman, you come as some I'm sorry, women's organ MPP women's organizer was a Belgium, was a Denmark, was a Hifa. You see, mommy to me come as some to the point where you see one day or see, hey, that Maria Makwa do know what UK hono. Yes, oba brochre kura offer Spain. Offer Spain and odi wura UK na fine ko si na obi frem na nipa ni si sis what na me say na me dem mate me hwe sa nkrofo no mo na mo pe na ya moko tie nsam sa na me say me fa Spain na me akwan me ta ko Spain kasa wo ya wo ta hu wo Facebook and wo ta hu wo social media say Maria mo akwa bodo ne na busu mo ta ko Spain na me nkotena se ne nko fabricate story kasa me ba UK me fa Spain na me ba there be by the grace of God sa nkrofo na me nka ho menka hobby meba brochre me fa kotoka international airport na me buy with a very valid visa and I made the buy and before me buy ya me tina ma anko Ghana bium kwa na ma ba 3 times dada na me third one na me buy and I me share my husband within 4 months na ye na register office my husband so ye wo no UK ha enti me ye den am kofa Spain na buy oti ase enti me no this whole Nkrata Sem, the all manner of no disrespect to anybody, and I wish everybody all the best with the Nkrata Sem and all that. But I mean, Nkrata Sem, it was handed to me on a silver platter because my husband was born here. Honestly, I say, and within 4 months we were married. We were at the register office. I registry ni BB. Maybe 6 months visa now. Omo de ma me British High Commission wa Ghana no. And wumpo na be share my husband that you worry wa. Aha. Is into no yeah. Be ka kwa say. People lie, and it ties in with what we are reading here. The behaviors, or even the behaviors of little children are known. How much more the behaviors of us adults? Let's bear that in mind for this year 2026 and how we conduct ourselves and our behaviors wherever we find ourselves, not just on social media. Okay, 27. Yeah, kind 27. No. 27, the spirit, which is the conscience, the conscious mind of man. And we know that the consciousness, no, too. Let's conscious mind, the conscious, how can you say conscious mind, a new part, mind, too. Yeah, we have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. That's what I'm trying to say. I've done so many videos on that. I even suggested a book which some of you purchased, The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. If you haven't read it before, do well to purchase a copy and read it. It will change your perspective about life, about how you think. It will help you to, cause a paradigm shift in your own mind. It will help you to attract so many beautiful things in your life and so on and so forth. It's called The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. Or say the spirit, which is the conscience of man. Yeah, the conscience of man is the lamp of the Lord. searching and examining all the innermost parts of his being. The conscience of man is the lamp of the Lord. A lamp, we all know what a lamp looks like. You're Ghana for, you know, what my friend is saying. Yes, so you do kania wa Ghana, near our lantern. Lantern is a lamp. Osono, but just a money mosono, or more moton idea na joanna jo wa Ghana no. Also, more idea be I say, yes, so I know say coffee tin no. Coffee tin no. Na so more de ntoma bi ashim. I don't know how they do it. That's almost de ntoma bi shim. Na omo atwen ntoma na fa eyi bim. Na afi omo aso anadwo na esisi ho na omo de nton ade na aha. A lamp in a way. And also the yeah, funny said torchlight okra. Yeah, this is like a lamp. And no what catch you know say young conscience, you know, it's like the lamp, it is the lamp of the Lord. And no na nyankopon or de search and or de examine the innermost parts of yen being. Okay. See, when God is searching, when God is looking at us, he's not looking at the physical appearance. No, God is not so concerned about your physical appearance. God is looking at your inner man. And sometimes we have to be very careful the way we judge people. Nipa no outward appearance na wa judge no. Na we are simple best don't judge a book by its cover. Whereas onyankopon ohwe ye mu, yankopon hwe nipa mu, hwe nipa akoma nim. Enti wobetumi ehu obi nipa no per wo standards onye nipa papa, nipa bonini, ka wo nko ankonka ho bi, wa writing it off and all that. But yankopon so hwe nipa na o say me dofo nie, the chosen one nie. Until let's be very careful. A lot of people that as humans we write off no. Omo chukwa na de bia yankopon epeja wo mo. Omo na yankopon ya na nani eta wo mo ho. Opeja wo mo. Until let's be very careful when it comes to sad, you know. And I feel so conscience, you know, every human being obi our conscience. Obi our conscience. Oh yeah, the papa or conscience beka chiro. At the bonnet na wo yen so o conscience and no bekasa. Let's be mindful of just that because of our will, we have the power to override a nearma bebre. To bo or ya dear, onim se enye, but to me, you see the will no or they are overriding, sa the air catcher and said, the way the okoyening. Now I override it. Now I go ahead. No, I could disabon. Uria na fe conscience na sa catch you saying why ni we na hon we do guilty conscience. I feel now you feel you've done it, but you feel guilty about it. Okay. So let's be very mindful of that as well. Or say the human spirit is the Lord's lamp searching the heart. Okay. God searches our hearts through our spirits. And then the takeaway or the summary, the nutshell of all of this is that wise people avoid excess, conflict, and laziness. God examines the heart. Okay, so if God is examining our heart, then we know, say Sebi, we can fool everybody else. And yes, you can fool all the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people. You can fool all the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. And I guess I cannot. We can try and pretend and be whatever we think, whatever we are. But you can't fool God. God knows who you really are. God knows who you really are. Uye ni papa, God knows. Uye ni bonini, so God knows. And if God knows that one kasa susu, you know. So this year, no, Michael Jackson, take a look at yourself in the mirror and make a change. Rather than pointing fingers at other people to make a change, look at yourself and you make that change. Okay. The best you have for tonight. And then we encourage each other to go ahead and read the rest of the chapter, the verses. There's only 30 verses. Before you drift off to sleep, you can read it, meditate on it, and drift off to sleep and have a good night's sleep. Okay. let's do our affirmations and then we are done for tonight. So the next 3 affirmations say, my relationships are filled with mutual respect, trust, and affection. I am financially secure and I attract wealth and prosperity. I am constantly growing and becoming the best version of myself. May God add his blessings to his word. Day 21. Let's just say, yeah, 3 weeks. Like your final week. Yeah, love you guys. Good night. Bye.